Welcome to the Trust Factor Radio, bringing you interviews and insights to unlock the power of the subconscious mind to create authority, credibility, and trust. With your host, the Authority Architect, and best-selling author, Neil Howe.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is your host, Neil Howe, and today my special guest is Dan Kern. Dan Kern is the founder and principal consultant at KernMedia.com out of Denver, Colorado. Welcome to the show, Dan Kern.
Thank you for having me.
Well, tell us a little bit more about yourself, Dan, and what you do at Kern Media.
Sure. Well, I have been in SEO for, probably about 15 plus years now at this point. And I founded Kern Media a little over a couple of years ago after spending years in-house on the publishing side and a few years on the agency side. And just being an entrepreneur at heart, I wanted to start my own consulting firm, have my own clients, and help small, medium, large-sized businesses with SEO, primarily content and technical SEO. And, I have a lot of experience with Google's various algorithm updates, or many algorithm updates over well over a decade, and, helping sites to recover from penalties and prevent ranking demotions and overall increase organic search traffic and revenue. And it's an industry that is always being updated and exciting, and it's continues to be a great source. Search engine traffic continues to be a great source of traffic and revenue for clients, and it's something that they can continue focusing on. So, yeah, we really enjoy it.
Definitely. I think SEO is the long-term solution for any business that, knows that they're going to be in business for quite a while. SEO is definitely the way to get that traffic. Tell me about the media title, Kern Media. Was there any reason you chose the media rather than a digital marketing agency?
Yeah, I wanted it to be scalable to other types of media in the future in case we wanted to widen our offerings. I am a firm believer in video. It's not something that I've, honestly produced a bunch of for clients at this point, but I do have connections in the video industry, and that's one area we may want to expand into more. And I really just wanted to keep it open, just in case our offerings expanded beyond SEO and digital marketing.
Definitely good stuff. So talk to me about the kind of clients that you help at Kern Media then.
Yes, absolutely. I'd say the most popular type of client is a medium-sized business that has design, development, copywriting resources, and is seriously interested and needs consultation on how to optimize their site and pull those resources that they already have together to really grow traffic and revenue. I find a lot of our clients do have these resources, whether they're internal or external, but they haven't made them all click and work together to really grow their organic search traffic. So we really come in and try to help connect the dots and make sure the developers are creating a technically sound website that search engines can easily crawl and index and find the right signals to rank pages properly, and also work with their copywriting teams or external copywriters to improve the topic or keyword targeting of their pages in a natural way, and really enhance their new content strategy to ensure that they're writing or creating content about topics their audience is searching for, and it's really good content that builds trust and authority in their industry.
Is there a misconception between an SEO company and a digital marketing agency? Is SEO just one aspect of, a whole holistic picture there?
Absolutely. Search engines are really just, one source of traffic, one channel. There's, organic search engine optimization is completely separate from, paid search ads that you can do with Google, Bing, etc. Of course, there's organic social marketing and paid social marketing. There's referral marketing, So SEO is really just one part of what some are saying. The past decade. The overall inbound marketing process.
Mm-hmm. All right. So talk to me about the major problems that your clients are having then.
Sure. One of the most common problems that clients come to us with is low indexation of their content in Google specifically. Some clients also have too much indexation, but they don't realize that index bloat is a problem necessarily. So, my experience over the years with being in the publishing company, where I was in charge of over 200 websites, we saw sites get demoted in Google back in 2012, namely when Google's Panda algorithm was being released almost every month or updated every month. And, a lot of it was due to content quality on the sites. And, sometimes it was because there's too many low quality content. They're dynamically generated pages like tag pages, internal search results, et cetera, that were being indexed in Google. And, sometimes it's not related to Panda, but, there's other indexation issues related to low indexation where client sites may not have all of their content being indexed. And, sometimes
being indexed exactly means what, just so we're clear?
Indexed is, Google has crawled and added your site to its index. So it's
okay. So that means they're aware of that page or that site?
Yes, and it's indexed in their index so that users can find it when they do queries in Google.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so low indexation, can be a number of reasons. Some clients say, hey, we have, 15,000 URLs in our sitemap, but we only have 10,000 indexed. And, that could be related to content quality. It could be related to internal link graph, because you need to interlink with your content beyond just putting it in the sitemap. So, there can be some technical reasons as well as some content reasons why a client website may have low indexation. But I'd say overall indexation is a big reason why clients come to Kern Media to help them with their SEO. Another popular reason they come is because they say their SEO or content marketing efforts just aren't working. I find that many clients try to do their own SEO, but the ones that contact us are not as effective as they would like to be. Once we do our audit of their site, we provide an SEO strategy, they more clearly see how technical SEO and content strategy based on keyword research work together to create a website that users value and search engines value as well, and therefore that content and their site can rank better. So we really try to help them show show them the overall SEO strategy as well as a lot of niche tactical approaches to getting their SEO working better.
Talk to me about the keyword research. How important is that for the overall strategy?
It's critical. To me, content strategy starts with keyword research as one of the main elements or main points of ideation for your content strategy. You really want to know what your target audience is interested in, what they're searching for, how they're searching in order to create a website that caters to them, right? Your website is not about you. It's for your audience. It's for your target customer. So if you're not doing research to understand how they're searching and what they're searching for, then your content strategy is not going to be fully in line with your target audience.
So take me through how you find these, ideal keywords that you're going to be able to rank for a site. I know most people will just go and pick, the top 10 searches that they can find with the highest numbers and go from there. Is that the right strategy?
It should be more complete than that. And you are going to start with your own knowledge of the industry, but then you're going to go to your SEO software application of choice. Personally, I use Ahrefs a lot. I used to use Keyword Planner, the Google AdWords keyword tool in years past, but when they changed their search volumes to ranges, because I didn't paid search campaigns, I needed a tool that was going to be more useful for SEO. So SEMrush, Ahrefs, Moz, these are all good tools. I like the Ahrefs tool. And you really start with seed keywords that you know about your industry and how people might be searching, synonyms, etc. And you really need to dig into those and start to topic bucket keywords into individual topics. And then you create in a hierarchical structure of how all this content is related. You also need to determine, what is the intent behind this keyword topic? What's the appropriate page type? Is this going to be a service page or e-commerce category, a product page, or a resource page? Is this going to be a long tail? Is this a long tail keyword topic? Is it a question-based keyword? So in which case, how to FAQ style keywords, how, when, why, what, etc. Those keywords are better for informative content, whether it's a blog post, an article, resource, etc. So you really need to take a really thorough approach to keyword research and topic bucket keywords together and then apply them to the appropriate page type to really inform your site structure and your content strategy.
Now, when you're looking at volume for some of these keywords, is there any volume exactly that you're looking to be above in order for it to make it worthwhile?
I don't subscribe to that. I think relevancy is the most important thing. And as long as you have enough signals that the topic does actually have some search volume, it's worth considering and prioritizing, based on search volume, difficulty, etc. Clients who have less authoritative websites, especially small, medium-sized businesses that are either relatively new or they just haven't done a lot of marketing, advertising, or PR work and acquired a bunch of links, it's going to be easier for them to rank for more niche keywords that have maybe lower search volume. But those are good opportunities to increase your chances of ranking on page one at Google better. And if you have really good authoritative, detailed content, you can drive some good revenue from articles that may not drive a ton of traffic, but they drive qualified traffic. So, it's not always about the search volume. It's really about what kind of content can you build trust and authority with and can convert, and is that traffic volume enough based on what your product or service offering is in order to achieve your revenue goals.
So when you're talking about topics and you group some keywords into topics, are you trying to write one content page per topic, or do you break it down into segments of keywords?
It depends on the keywords. Good examples, we have a Costa Rica travel agency who we have worked with for, probably 7 years now. And they have a page about the best time to visit Costa Rica. And I noticed after a few years of that page ranking pretty well, page one of Google, and driving tons of traffic and leads, that there were even more niche subtopics to that overall topic, such as Costa Rica in January, Costa Rica in February. So monthly based keyword topics that opened up new opportunities for us to build content pages about each month and give users more insights for each particular month of what that month is like in Costa Rica, different parts of Costa Rica. So, we took what was a pretty highly searched topic with one page, when to visit Costa Rica, best time to visit Costa Rica, to 13 pages, one main page with 12 individual monthly pages. And so the keyword research, I was looking in Google Search Console, identifying the most popular queries and, how they changed over the course of a month or two or three. And I kept seeing, the months change. And, if you go back and attempt to re-optimize existing pages on your site, you might notice opportunities like this to then get deeper into a topic with subpages. So sometimes the keyword research can call for multiple pages. Sometimes it's just one. It really just depends on the query activity by the user.
So how much content should a business be generating each month, to really drive traffic to their website?
With anything with SEO, there's not a magic bullet. There's no magic numbers. Everything's relative, right? Relative to competition, to what you're capable of, what your bandwidth and resources are. But generally, it's good to create as much content as much new content as you can, as long as you maintain quality. So, a lot of my clients create, one or more blog posts per week. And that works for some of them, right? For in more competitive industries, where a company might have more aggressive revenue goals, that may not be enough, and you might need to create more. I know HubSpot did. They did a study years ago where they said that a company that blogs 4 times a week as opposed to 4 times a month will typically drive 3.5 times as many leads. So, of course, volume of content creation can have a really positive impact. But if it means that your quality is going to go down, it's not worth it. It's the best approach is to create high quality content and do as much of it as you can with a good keyword research strategy in each month, and stay consistent with it.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me about the interlinking, because I think that's something that many businesses or people that are trying to do SEO themselves don't quite understand.
Yeah, so internal link building is really important, and that's really the main type of link building consultation that we do for our clients. Clients sometimes think that, hey, I have this URL on my sitemap, or all these URLs on my sitemap, but they're not indexed or they're not ranking well. If a sitemap link or reference is not enough. Navigational references are also not always enough to be indexed or ranked properly. Search engines like to see interlinking between pages. Body content links have different weight than top nav and footer menu links, it's believed. And from my experience, that's true. So, when you do content marketing on your blog or with resources, articles, etc., it's important to build keyword-rich links without being spammy to other important pages on your site. That really helps search engines see a more expanded link graph for different pages on your site, and it helps those pages rank higher in search engines.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me about, are there any, you talked about the navigational pages. How much weight do they take, and should you be pointing all the content at these nav pages?
So, navigational menus certainly do have weight. It's something that, search engines take a look at. As your most important pages typically are linked from your navigational structure. It's oftentimes very important to build internal links to many of those pages from the body content of other pages on your site. Now, maybe not necessarily your about page or your contact page, unless your about page is targeting a specific keyword. But if you're a lead generation website because you offer a service, then you likely have service pages linked from your top nav menu that are targeting keyword topics, and those pages should have internal links built to them from blog posts, articles, etc. E-commerce sites, have category pages, product pages, and where it makes sense from content such as articles, blog posts, resource pages, etc., where you do want to get people off those pages to pages that you can convert the user on, it's good to build links to those pages as well as category pages, product pages, and so forth.
Great. You talk a lot about the technical aspect of SEO. What's an example of some technical mistakes that people make when building their websites?
Sure. Page speed is a big one. Page rendering is another one. Canonicalization, how they handle pagination, technical and content can overlap a bit. For example, WordPress sites oftentimes have tag pages and author pages and category pages, which are all dynamically generated. There's no real unique content on them. And depending on how many tags you have, how many authors you have, how many categories, in relation to how many pages of good quality unique content you have, that can, historically can get you into trouble a bit with Google's quality related algorithms. And so, it's not necessarily an editorial content solution to fix that problem. It's more of a technical solution where you want to set pages like that to no index follow via meta robots tag. Or maybe internal search results. You have a bunch of those indexed in Google. You want to add a no index follow meta robots tag to those, wait for them to drop out of the index, and then add disallow rules to your robots.txt command file. So that will help prevent search engines from wasting their time and attempting to crawl and index low quality content in the future. So, a lot of it is related to content quality and crawlability and, the different tools we have to address those, such as your robots file, meta robots tags in the head, or X robots tags, and other approaches to refining indexation and improving internal link graph.
And in saying all that and doing all those things that you just mentioned, which are, probably over the head of most people listening, and that's why you need a competent SEO, what difference does it make to the website?
It can make a good difference. It really depends on the size of the site, what else is going on with ranking history, quality, etc. Again, SEO is very relative. You could have a small site that is maybe 50 pages, and maybe there's 20 tag pages indexed, and there's a few other technical issues that you can fix, and you won't see an impact, right? But you've at least created a better technical foundation, so when the site does grow, with content and so forth, that you're not going to create problems down the road. However, there are some issues with larger sites, especially where there's too much low quality content, dynamically generated pages, etc., that are crawlable and indexable for search engines. So by using some technical SEO tactics to refine that indexation and control search bar crawls, you can improve indexation, rankings, and traffic of content that should rank well, right? So it really depends, but it's having good technical SEO, I find, is something that is important to just lay the groundwork on for a site early on in the engagement, so you can then focus most of your time and attention on existing content optimization and new content strategy.
Mm-hmm. Well, we all know the importance of a solid foundation, and that seems what the technical SEO is, something that you can really build on for the future. Getting back to keywords and ranking, I noticed in your notes here that one of the clients that you mentioned, the Costa Rica travel agency, you said they have never appeared on page 1 of Google for their top keyword target, but still have grown their traffic and revenue. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so their top keyword would probably be considered Costa Rica vacations, and they just have never ranked on page 1 of Google. Link building is probably going to be what it takes for them to do that. And I find that link building is a lot of time and effort, but it can sometimes yield less results at the onset, or during the first year or two of working with the client. It depends on your competition, right? If you have very authoritative sites that are ranking on page 1 on Google for these keyword phrases, these really highly searched keywords, it may be a while until you are cracking page 1 of Google. So I'm more concerned with hitting a client's revenue goals, right? And trying to grow their revenue by growing their traffic from targeted audience. So depending on the client, we might try to target, different types of keywords. If a client has more authority, we might be able to rank higher for some higher search chunky middle keywords, where a client with less authority is probably going to have more success with longer tail and less competitive keyword phrases that they can actually hit page one of Google for. So, this particular client, we targeted keywords like when to visit Costa Rica, where to go in Costa Rica, Costa Rica family vacations, Costa Rica honeymoons. So, combination of long tail and kind of what's called chunky middle keyword phrases, that there was more likelihood that they could rank well for those keywords. And by continuing to build really high quality, in-depth content about some of these more higher search long tail keywords like when to visit Costa Rica, where to go in Costa Rica, etc., we can then use those articles to build keyword rich links back to some of our important service level pages like Costa Rica family vacations, honeymoons, etc. So that approach has been really successful for the long term with the client. I mean, they're driving over 15,000 monthly visitors and drive about 30 to 50 leads per month. And for a pretty small operation, it's had tremendous impact on their revenue. It's helped their business grow, for them to hire more people. And we are sticking with the strategy today, focused on, we're doing a redesign right now. So we really don't do a whole lot of link building. It's because we just realized, maybe one day we'll rank on page one of Google for Costa Rica vacations, when that primary keyword phrase, when we earn it, right? We're building a brand. Google wants to rank brands. We're trying to build a brand through high quality educational content, great customer trips, and building testimonials and reviews, doing things organically, and we're in it for the long haul together.
Well, you're certainly getting results for them. 15,000 visitors a month. I'm sure it's an extremely competitive industry as well in travel. But you said something there that interests me is Google wants to they want to rank brands. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Sure. Google's looking for brand signals in a number of different ways, and links is a big part of it. People like to link to brands. People, like to, spend more time on brand sites. They'll have more branded queries in search engines, right? And, it's more than just links. There's lots of different signals that Google will use to really identify brands, and really overall, Google does want to rank the best possible result for the query, right? But there is definite preference for brands that Google can tell that people have a lot of affinity for. So you don't just build a brand with one strategy. You don't just build a brand with link building or build a brand with blogging, etc. You build a brand with great customer experiences, referrals, great content that attracts people to the site and that encourages people to contact you, and then you create that great experience. I know that I really like the HubSpot inbound marketing methodology, where it talks about attracting people to building awareness and attracting people to your site who are unaware of your brand, educating them, and then closing them, having them become a customer, client, and then delighting them after they are already a customer, so that they go online or in person and brag or just support your brand to other people that they know. And that creates a cyclical effect where them, they might come back and be a customer again, or they refer people that come back to you. And, that type of activity is, a big part of what creates a really good brand in a way that Google can identify online.
So those two things, just, trying to build your brand as you're growing, as well as target those long tail keywords and those chunky middle keywords, and, not even being able to hit that top keyword that you want to. What other misconceptions are there about SEO that you hear from your clients?
Gotcha. the fact that links might be required for in order to have SEO be effective in terms of active link building, I just kind of want to close the loop on that one. It's not necessarily. It's certainly much more difficult today to attract links naturally. 15 years ago, there was not as much content online. So you could attract links to your blog posts and your site more naturally than you can nowadays. There's a lot more noise and so forth. But if your content quality is very good and you are offering some unique data, perhaps survey studies, etc., that's the kind of content that people will want to link to. So really, that's content strategy. Ideally, you would have some kind of PR behind it, which is kind of the new link building, where it's you're doing PR in hopes of getting coverage, right? Unique editorial coverage to attract links to your site, not in the typical sense of link building from maybe 5-10 years ago before the Penguin algorithm, where it's a lot of directory submissions and so forth, or building links that no one clicks on, right? So I still find to this day that you don't really have to do active link building to be successful with SEO. Technical and content can really handle a lot for you. But of course, sometimes you can reach somewhat of a limit with that, where it might be, you might get to a point where you want to graduate into doing some, PR campaigns and some, 10x content and putting some outreach behind it. And other misconceptions, I'm trying to think offhand.
What kind of PR really works for a business these days?
Yeah, I'd say it's less about the PR and it's more about what's being promoted. So if you can identify who your target audience is and what would be notable to them, and something that would be something people want to talk about, right? Then that will lead typically to a good PR campaign. But if you don't have anything notable, PR efforts are going to struggle, right? So to me, it's more about the content as opposed to the actual PR efforts. In most of the work we do for clients is, I don't want to say a little bit more basic necessarily in terms of the content strategy, but I find that pretty much every client has holes to some degree in their basic content strategy. There's, still topics that are directly related to what their target audience is searching for, that they haven't written about, or they have content about them, but they're not worded in a way where it's clear to a search engine, that, this content is about this keyword topic. So by, doing some re-optimization of existing content, or expanding their new content strategy, that can really help a lot. So I guess that leads me to another misconception is that, once a piece of content is created, you're done. You can move on. That's not necessarily the case. I help clients go back and re-optimize existing content that may be declining in the rankings because it's been up for years. And over the past several years, new competitors have created content about that topic as well. And maybe our content is not as in-depth as it should be. There's some different elements of this topic that we need to cover that we're not covering. And as Google gets smarter and it understands, the depth in the related entities as they relate to a content topic, it can change the way that you rank, especially when competitors are doing a better job over time. So, sometimes you have to go back and improve existing content, not just from a keyword research standpoint, but also from a point of taking a look at competitors and, what's in their content that we don't have in our content. How do we need to expand our content to be a better overall offering for users? And, that can have a big impact, not just from what I talked about, but also from updating the content. Google likes freshness. So, by updating your content, not on a very, very regular basis necessarily, unless the page warrants it, like it's a kind of a news ticker kind of type of content piece. But, when content gets old, it can get stale. and competitors come out with newer, fresher content, and you kind of have to, stay up to date, especially with your highest traffic content that's been published for a long time.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of aged content out there. You do a search now and you're getting a result that might come up from 2012 talking about SEO best practices. Well, within that industry, things have changed so much and so rapidly that, there would have to be many iterations of that content piece to keep it relevant and to keep it showing up. Dan, talk to me about some of the questions somebody should be asking if they are thinking about hiring an SEO company. How do they tell if they're gonna be working with the right company or not?
The most important thing is, in my mind, or one of the most important things, is to ask how you work. I've had client relationships where there was so much opportunity, and we provided a lot of value, but it got to the point where things weren't being implemented, right? And there's also some situations where the client won't let you help implement, but they can't implement themselves as well. So it's really a two-way street where you really need to be clear, from our side, from the consultant side, this is how we like to work. We can provide some additional services if needed. It may need to be through, third parties, right? Or, for example, we're doing more content nowadays for clients, but, a year or two ago, we weren't doing content, really much at all for clients, but we would help clients find copywriter services or copywriters that were a good fit for their business because they had experience with that industry or whatnot. But so if we're not providing content and you don't have budget for it and you don't have staff for it, it's going to put a big hamper on our ability to implement a content strategy. Right. So from the client's perspective, it's really important to determine, what is the consultant going to provide? And what are you, the client, going to provide to make sure it's a good match? And if it's not, but there's still a lot of interest, then get creative on how you can find solutions for resources, services that you need to implement SEO strategy that are not currently available on either side. And again, copywriting is a big part of that. Developer resources, designer is a big part of that as well. So if a client has a site that is having rendering issues, or the design is not mobile friendly, and Google has a mobile first index now, if they don't have budget or to hire an external designer or an on-staff designer, that's a big problem. So you got to make sure that the resources needed to implement the SEO strategy are available on either side of the table.
So really just have to really set expectations with the client and make sure that they understand the whole picture and what is going to be required of them in order for you to do your work also. Yes,
absolutely. Because some clients realize, wow, we hired an SEO and it's a lot more work than we thought it was going to be.
Worth it in the end, but some things still have to be done by the client in order to see these results. Dan, if somebody wants to reach out to you to get help and have a look at their website and their SEO, what is the best way for them to do that?
Just go to kernmedia.com and there's pretty clear calls to action to contact us. You can call us, you can email us. We're happy to speak with you and see if it's a good fit.
Excellent. Well, Dan, I really appreciate you spending time with me today and sharing your knowledge about SEO with our audience. That's Dan Kern at kernmedia.com out of Denver, Colorado. Thank you very much for being my guest on the Trust Factor Radio today.
Thank you, Neil.
And to our listening audience, if you like what you hear, hit that like button and share, and we'll see you next time on the show.
You've been listening to the Trust Factor Radio with Neil Howe. To learn about the resources mentioned in the show and to listen to past episodes, go to thetrustfactorradio.com. To get a copy of the book, The Trust Factor, go to thetrustfactorbook.com. If you are ready to act now and build your authority, credibility, and trust, schedule a consultation with Neil at theauthorityarchitect.com.